First bow, second bow, third bow. So you all have the chanting book, huh? Okay, take one also. So start off with the Namo Tassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. So we jump to the page 3, the Buddha Vandana. Iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vijacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anutaro purisa dhammasarati sattha deva manusana buddho bhagavati swakato bhagavata dhammo sanditiko akariko ehipasiko opanaiko pacatam veditavo vinyuhiti supatipano bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho Ujupatipano bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho Yāyapatipano bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho Samitipatipano bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho Yatidaṃ cattari purisa yugani Ata purisa pukala Esa bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho Ahuneyo pahuneyo Dakineyo anjali karaniyo Anutara punya kedang lokasati. Okay, then we turn to this Ratana Sutta, page 15, 1-5. 1-5, Ratana Sutta. So we are just going to read the English, since some of you don't know the chanting. Okay, read together. Whatever beings are here assembled, whether terrestrial or celestial, may all these beings be happy, and listen closely to my words. Pay attention, all you beings. Show kindness to the humans who day and night bring you offerings. Therefore guard them diligently. Whatever treasure is here or beyond, or the precious jewel in the heavens, none is equal to the Perfect One. In the Buddha is the precious jewel. By this truth, may there be well-being. The calm Sakyan sage found sensation, dispassion, the deathless, the sublime. There is nothing equal to that state. In the Dhamma is this precious jewel. By this truth, may there be well-being. That purity praised by the Supreme Buddha, called concentration with immediate result. That concentration has no equal. In the Dhamma is this precious jewel. By this truth, may there be well-being. With firm minds applying themselves to Gautama's teaching, passionless, they reach the goal. Plunge in the deathless, they enjoy supreme peace. In the Sangha is this precious jewel. By the truth, may there be well-being. As a firm post grounded in the earth cannot be shaken by the four winds, so is the superior person, I say, who definitely sees the noble truths. In the Sangha is this precious jewel. By the truth may there be well-being. Those who comprehend the noble truths, taught well by him of deep wisdom, even if they are very negligent, do not take an eighth existence. In the Sangha is this precious jewel. By the truth may there be well-being. For one who has attained to vision, three states are at once abandoned: view of self, doubt and clinging, to needless rules and rituals, freed from the four states of misery. He cannot do 6 kinds of evil deeds. In the Sangha is this precious jewel. By the truth may there be well-being. Though he might do some evil deed, by body, speech or mind, he cannot hide it. Such is impossible for one who has seen the path. In the Sangha is this precious jewel. By the truth may there be well-being. Like woodland groves in blossom, in the first heat of the summertime, is the sublime Dhamma that he taught leading to Nibbana, the highest good. In the Buddha is this precious jewel. By this truth may there be well-being. He, the Supreme Sublime One, knower, giver and bringer of the sublime, taught the sublime Dhamma. In the Buddha is this precious jewel. By the truth may there be well-being. Their past is extinct with no new arising. Their minds not drawn to future birth. Their old is destroyed. Desires no more growing. The wise go out just like this lamp. In the Sangha is this precious jewel. By the truth may there be well-being. Whatever beings are here assembled, whether terrestrial or celestial, we salute the perfected Buddha, revered by gods and men. May there be well-being. Whatever beings are here assembled, whether terrestrial or celestial, we salute the perfected Dhamma, revered by gods and men. May there be well-being. Whatever beings are here assembled, whether terrestrial or celestial, we salute the perfected Sangha, revered by gods and men. May there be well-being. By the power of this truth, may my suffering subside. By the power of this truth, may my fear subside. By the power of this truth, may my illness subside. Okay, turn to page 7. This transference of merit to the Devas. Akasata ca bhumata devanaga mahitika punyang tang anumoditva cirang rakhantu loka sasanam. Akasata ca bhumata devanaga mahitika punyang tang anumoditva cirang rakhantu desanam. Akasata ca bhumata devanaga mahitika punyang tang anumoditva cirang rakhantu mang parang. Page 9. Blessing to the world. Devo vasatu kalena sasa sampati hetu cha Pito bhavatu loko cha Raja bhavatu dhamiko Idam me nyatinam hotu Sukhita hontu nyatayo Idam me nyatinam hotu Sukhita hontu nyatayo Idam me nyatinam hotu Sukhita hontu nyatayo Imina punya kamena Mame bala samagamo Satang samagamo hotu Yavani vana patiya Kayena vacha citena Pamadena maya katang Acayang kama me bante Puripanya tathagata Kayena vacha citena Pamadena maya katang Acayang kama me dhamma Sanditika akalika Kayena vacha citena Pamadena maya katang Acayang kama me sangha Supatipana anuttara Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so we continue our session. Yeah. So now it's this question and answers. So I'll just, carry on. Okay. So today's selection, choice of chant this Ratana Sutta because of this interesting quality. If you look at page 15, verse 5. Verse 5. This Ratana Sutta. The purity praised by the Supreme Buddha called concentration with immediate result. That concentration has no equal. Right? So this is the questions a few people asked this earlier session. Yeah, so Tan is asking about the lights. So I talk about there's another kind of samadhi, and I think Goh, right? Yeah, same surname. So he's asking about the different levels of concentration. So today I'm going to introduce this particular sutta because not many people are aware. Not many people are aware there's this teaching called the Samadhi Sutta. Yeah, the Buddha taught there are 4 different kinds of samadhis. 4 different kinds of samadhi. A lot of people, when they hear samadhi or hear concentration, people have the idea concentration means must enter total stillness, quietness, no thinking, your brain, ECG stop, your heart stop, everything stop, breathing stop, everything stop. Then this is concentration. Not necessarily true. So we'll go into that. So there's one type of concentration may lead to this. So we'll talk about that later. So there are 4 kinds of concentration. So the first kind of concentration is the jhanas. So jhanas is, there are total 8 kind of jhanas. Yeah, 8 kind of jhanas. So the first jhana, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. So total there are 8 levels of concentration. So this concentration is to make a person calm, make a person contented. So that's the purpose of these jhanas. So the purpose of samatha meditation, let's say we are doing this loving kindness meditation. So we introduce a bit based on this particular Mettang Sutta. If there's an M behind the Metta, a person do wishing all beings well and happy can enter the first level of concentration. If they add the insight meditation, they combine insight, it will jump to the 4th. So 1 and 4. 1 and 4 jhana. Yeah? And if they do compassion, they wish all beings free from suffering, they'll enter 2, second level of concentration. And if they add impermanence or investigation of Dhamma, they become 5th. Yeah, so 2 and 5. And same for appreciative joy, 3 and 6. And equanimity, 4 and 7. So you don't ask me why these numbers is in the sutta is like that. Huh? So it happened to be like that. So this is for the 4 sublime states. So it can be done with quite a wide spectrum of these levels of concentration. But in the Noble Eightfold Path, the right concentration is just defined as the 4 jhanas. As the 4 jhanas, first, second, third, fourth. Because so I just roughly introduced the first jhana. In theory, we'll have 4 factors, 4 things to look out for: initial thinking, sustained thinking, joy, and happiness. So this emotion is a package; it comes together. So normally a person enter first jhana, just no, very strong, very nice, or quite pleasant, but don't know what's the difference because it's together. Then the second jhana, second level of concentration, will just have joy and happiness. So there's no more initial and sustained thinking. So it's another pleasant emotion. And the third jhana, the third level of concentration, will just have happiness and a bit of equanimity. So there are 2 factors, happiness and equanimity. So no more joy. So the second one, second level of concentration, have joy and happiness. The third one have happiness but no joy. So if a person wants to differentiate what's the difference between joy and happiness, they need to transit between the second and the third, or the third and the second. By process of elimination, then the different experience means the different emotion. And for the 4th level of concentration, it will be just 1 factor called equanimity. So these are the 4 levels of concentration. So the right concentration in the Eightfold Path is defined as these 4 jhanas. So in the Buddha's time, before he got enlightened, he learned under 2 meditation teachers. 2 meditation teachers when he was before or practicing asceticism. So the first ascetic teacher, this Alara Kalama, taught him the 7th level of concentration. And there's a name to it called the realm of nothingness. Realm of nothingness. So it's the combination of this equanimity plus impermanence may lead to this realm of nothingness. But of course, this ascetic teacher may not teach this equanimity, so he teach maybe another method. So he reached this realm of nothingness. And of course, the ascetic Gautama, he was not satisfied with this realm of nothingness. Their idea is, you want to have liberation means total peace, total calmness, total quietness. But then, they still need to makan, still need to move around, still need to go toilet, still there's movement. So something is wrong with the philosophy. Right? So he left the teacher, he went to the second teacher. So the second teacher is Udaka Ramaputta. So he taught him the highest level of jhana. So the eighth level of concentration. So this is called the neither perception nor non-perception. Very confusing name. So that is the highest level of jhana. Yeah. So again, the same thing. The Buddha or ascetic Gautama wasn't satisfied with that state of mind, so he left. So they left the school of freezing the karma, and he went to the other school called burning the karma, so torturing himself. So freezing doesn't work, torturing doesn't work, so he found the middle way. After 6 years of exploring, found the middle way. Okay, so we're going to talk about the other 3 kinds of samadhi. So the first one is about jhanas. Jhanas alone, without right view and right thought, cannot be called right concentration. It's just called jhanas. So there are many instances in the suttas where, let's say, yogis or practitioners, they practice some kind of jhana, and they are reborn in certain Brahma realm. a certain heavenly realm because of the karma, the fruit of the jhanas. And after they use up the karma, if they still do not have right view, they use up the good karma, so left with all the bad karma. So they need to be reborn in the lower realm, the hell, the animal realm, or whatever realm. So this is what happens if a person do not have right view. So again, in this Ratana Sutta, if a person is a Sangha jewel, if they really realize the truth in their right view, they will not be reborn into the woeful states. No more hell, hungry ghosts, animal realm, or they want to count this Ashura realm, 4 woeful states. So these are the states they won't be reborn in. So this is the if there's jhana with right view. So when the Buddha taught jhanas, he always included everything, the Eightfold Path as a package. So if a person were to refer to this jhana sutta, each level of jhana, there's a reflection of this impermanence. Reflection. So there's a whole list of reflection, not just impermanence, there's suffering, non-self, disease, cancer, error, whatever, emptiness. So there's a whole list, you can just pick one and just reflect. So that's the Buddha's version. So he added this reflection to make the jhana the right kind of concentration. So that is the first kind. So that's the first type. And the second type of concentration is this concentration that leads to higher knowledge and vision. So in order to do that, a person have to visualize light. Their practice is to visualize light the whole day. So there are many kinds of visualization practices. So in my routine, I don't encourage for too long. Maybe other systems, other styles of meditation, they might teach that. Okay, so the knowledge, higher knowledge and vision is called abhinyas, higher knowledge. So this is the something to do like psychic power. So there are 5 kinds of worldly psychic power. First is this divine eye. Some people can see ghosts or see devas. So that's the first kind of higher knowledge. Second one is recalling past life. Recalling past life. You want to know what you are in the past. So that is the second kind of higher knowledge. Third one, divine ear. Can hear long range or hear other realms. So that's the third one. The fourth one is this mind reading ability, to know what other people are thinking. So that's the fourth one. And the fifth one is this like telekinesis, can able to fly, can walk on water, walk through the walls, that kind of stuff. So these are the 5 worldly higher knowledges. And there's one more. The sixth one is the higher knowledge that leads to liberation. So there's a total of 6 higher knowledges. So the sixth one is specially reserved for enlightened beings. Then they'll have the sixth one. So the first 5 can be achieved by anybody, any non-Buddhist, even non-practitioner can actually achieve these first 5 higher knowledge. For example, some people are born, for example, as a deva. So they immediately have this thing already. They don't have to meditate for it. If they do enough good deeds, and they're born as a deva, they have the divine eye, divine whatever. So that is for them. Or some people born as a certain spirit, they also can see those other things, right? So that is born with it, might be got to do their physiology or certain special kind of genetics, whatever it is. Humans also, some humans, a few humans may be able to have this ability. Some people claim to be able to see ghosts or see things and stuff like that when they are young, or recall past lives. There are some documentaries on it. So these are without training, and for non-spiritual reasons also can be done. For example, nowadays there's this thing called past life regression therapy. Have you heard of it? So this is, they call it medically proven. You don't even need to meditate. You just need to pay money to these therapists, and they hypnotize you, and you keep on ask leading questions. Ask you, then you go to your subconsciousness, and somehow you can recall your past life. And then he's able to document down, and very detailed things that you do not even know, and they have many cases on it lah. So they claim to be authentic. So this is the circular way of recalling past lives. Just by asking questions and stuff like that. So more non-spiritual methods of this higher knowledge is this. I think quite recent, not really recent. Quite recent. Like the world, it's not the World War, this Cold War between the US and the Russia. So they have this special program for the spies, for the psychic inclined spies. They call it remote viewing. So there's certain special exercise for them to do their visualization, whatever not. Then afterwards they can just stay in their room, and then they can pinpoint the enemy target, and they can just bomb the place. So there's such thing. So they don't have to be physically present to see the actual thing. They just in the mind they can see already. So this is the we call it mundane higher knowledges, not for spiritual use. So they can be used for very worldly mundane things, may not be wholesome even. So that is the higher knowledges. Okay, so more people coming. So there are lots of these visualization practices. So for example, like in the Tibetan tradition, before they take up any initiation to visualize any particular deity or bodhisattva or any Buddha, they need to do some confession practice, supposedly to purify the karma. So they need to do like thousands and thousands of prostrations, or chant thousands and thousands of mantras to create enough good karma before they can really receive this practice, before they can receive instruction to visualize, right? And so in case they happen to develop this divine eye, at least the things they see will be quite pleasant. At least, because in Buddhism we believe wholesome beings will be attracted to good karma person. If let's say you are wholesome, you will appear bright to the devas. If you are unwholesome, you have a lot of negative karma, you appear dark. So the only things attracted to you are demons and evil spirits. So in the Theravada tradition, there's this lack of this practice, lack of this confession practice. So you ask you, okay, see light. Okay. Then if a person happen to develop this divine eye, and if they do not have enough good karma, then the whole day is a horror movie. Can be a horror movie. So the whole day they see demons and ghosts and evil spirit. So that might be one of the possible results. So second, how do you call it? So in the Thai, or rather not Thai, I think many Buddhist traditions, there are people who are okay or quite pro people developing this divine eye, or encourage people to see the light. And there are teachers who are against this practice. That means don't really encourage. So in the scripture, it is an official practice, but personally I feel it is case by case basis, not meant for everybody. Not meant for everybody. So one of the few factors to take note is checklist for yourself is first is can you handle the dramas of this lifetime? If you cannot handle the dramas of this lifetime, somebody maybe criticize you, or some incident happen, you feel depressed or upset, then seeing past life may not be suitable for that person. That practice of developing or visualizing may not be suitable for that person. If one lifetime you cannot handle, you want to look at how many lifetimes, and you multiply the effect. You cannot handle. So you may not have the wisdom or the concentration to handle it. Okay, second criteria is our own spiritual tendencies, our inclination and right view. Right? That means because this ability is a bit like the supernatural version of YouTube, supernatural version of Google or YouTube. So if a person do not have this right intention, they end up trying to capo a lot of things. So in order to know whether you're suitable, you have to check your internet search history. Check your internet search history. If your search history is full of rubbish and full of entertainment, then forget it. Don't go and visualize. If you happen to have divine eye, then your whole day is kind of sidetracked. You never come back to your meditation. Come back to kaypoh other thing. So personally, I've encountered 2 monks who disrobed. 2 monks who disrobed because of this visualization related kind of meditation. So the first monk I encountered was when I was a junior monk. He was more senior than me by 7 years. So he claimed to be able to sit and not move for 14 hours. 14 hours straight. He don't need to get up from his seat. 14 hours. So what was he doing there? 14 hours VR, virtual reality. So whole day see all those things, interacting with those unseen beings. 14 hours. So nowadays the kids also can stay with the computer for how many hours? So he can do that. 14 hours sit there, then he do his own VR thing. Supernatural VR. So, but he's gone to the extent of he's blurred the vision between the different realms. He cannot differentiate what is this reality and whatever he's seeing. So sometimes he may act very strangely. Like sometimes, like in the Thai forest, he can just walk off to the forest and he get lost. And people need to form a search party to look for him until like that for days. Then some other incident was like when a group of monks were like in a lorry, a pickup, moving truck, he can suddenly just jump off. So he do a lot of those funny things. So in the end he disrobed because of some issue. So I think gonna diagnosed with some mental issue, disrobe. Then the second one was not mental illness, but the second one is he did the visualization. So once he's able to perceive certain spirits, then he disrobed and become a Taoist priest. Because monk cannot catch ghosts, but the other occupation can catch ghosts. So he disrobed, then he want to went full time become this priest. So that is because if a person do not have the interest in finding this middle path, then a lot of things can distract you. So very important. So in my routine, we don't encourage very long kind of visualization. Very long kind of visualization. So that's the point. So we talk about the different teachers in the different, let's say the Thai tradition, those who are pro and against. For example, like the forest tradition, the founder of the forest tradition, Long Pu Man, his biography talks about, you bring Chambutuan, you can see the bright light, then later you see all the devas, all the whatever, nagas and whatever, right? So that's for him. So his disciples also have different spectrum. Like for example, maybe Ajahn Chah, he's not really into seeing those white light. Some of his, there's an account of disciples asking him in the meditation, Long Po, right? Asked Ajahn Chah, Long Po, I can see white light in my meditation. What does it mean? And his reaction is to take out his torchlight and shine at the person. And he said, my torchlight also got light. So Ajahn Chah is more of maybe the wisdom kind. He's not really into all this. So what it's implying is that probably the light don't really mean anything. It's how you reflect, how you discern the light. And so that's for the Ajahn Chah is on the Mahanikaya side. So let's say for the Dhammayut side, I always take reference from the scriptures from Ajahn Thanisaro, Ajahn Jeff. So he's the American monk. He's a Caucasian monk. He's probably the first Caucasian to go to Thailand to take the Pali examinations in the Thai language and passed, and he got the highest grade. So he's the first Caucasian to do that. So he has 2 teachers. or rather supposedly two teachers he acknowledged. So one is Ajahn Lee. So Ajahn Lee is very in favor of this supernatural kind of thing. And then he has another teacher called Long Pu Feng. Long Pu Feng is against this kind of phenomena. Yeah? So there's a story of Long Pu Feng, F-U-A-N-G, Long Pu Feng. He's an abbot of a certain monastery, and there's a Mei-Chi staying in the monastery. Yeah? That means 8 preceptor lady staying there to do all the temple maintenance. Yeah? So the more she stayed, the longer she stayed, she observed all those retreats, those people that come for retreats, maybe for a while, like what you're doing, stay for a while. Then some of the retreat participants start to say, oh, they can see this, see that in the meditation, see the different lights and all of amazing, fantastic things. And then she went to ask the abbot, this Long Pu Feng, asked, dear Long Po, I stay with you for so many years, I never see anything. But these meditators come for a while, then they claim they can see this, see that. What's wrong? What's wrong in my meditation? So this Long Pu Feng straight away tell her, you are so lucky, you are so fortunate. Do you know that all these people that see all these things, I'm so worried for them. So worried for them, like the examples I gave earlier. Because some of those things can happen. Yeah, so for those who cannot see anything, very good. Okay, so possible reasons for people to be able to see this light is because they themselves are practicing this visualization practice, because that itself is to develop this divine eye. Yeah? So if a person has certain divine eye potential, then there are few possibilities if they happen to see light occurring naturally. A few possibilities. So possibility number one, it could be this physical light. Maybe our eyelid very thin. So in order to, process of elimination, you want to know whether is it physical light or some supernatural light, you just use your hand, cover your eye. So additional blockage. If the light is gone, that means it's physical light. Second possibility, it could be really a divine eye. So you perceive the mind in terms of brightness. So if a person's mind has more concentration or calmer, it will appear brighter. So basically, you seeing yourself. So that's a possibility. You see your own mind. Then another possibility, it could be other unseen beings capable. They fly past only. Other unseen beings. So other unseen beings may appear bright, but they don't want to show their form. They just fly past. So that is another possibility. So next time you want to see again, what happened to the lights? They don't appear because they don't want to come. Right? So that one is beyond the control. If they come means have, they don't come means don't have, like that. Yeah? So that is another possibility. So these are amongst a few possibilities. So that's about this divine eye. So the third one, so the second kind of samadhi, this higher knowledge and vision, to further develop it, you can find this in this Iddhipada Vibhanga Sutta, 4 bases of psychic power. So when the Buddha, before he passed away, this Mahaparinibbana Sutta, he have a special request, or rather he can make a request to this Venerable Ananda. He told Venerable Ananda, if any practitioner who is mastered these 4 bases of psychic power, 4 bases of power, can actually live to an eon. So this eon is subjective to interpretation. How long is this eon? That means they can live in suspended animation. So like some people think meditation means must suspended animation, cannot breathe, cannot no heart beating and stuff like that. So that is the kind of meditation. So a lot of those Hindu yogis, some of them have the practice of like staring at the sun or staring at the moon. So all these are like visualization practices. So when they visualize, so they may have this kind of power. So they end up not breathing and stuff like that. So very common to find some yogis can meditate long term, don't need to eat, don't need to whatever, there's suspended animation and stuff like that. So that's the kind of meditation they are doing. So, basis of psychic power. So that's the second kind. The third kind is mindfulness. So if a person keep observing impermanence arising and passing of these your thoughts, your feelings, and perceptions, and all these will sharpen one's mindfulness. So that's the third kind of concentration. So actually vipassana is a kind of samadhi. Vipassana done long or done correctly is a kind of samadhi. We call this vipassana samadhi. It is not jhanas, it's different from jhanas. Okay, then the fourth kind of samadhi, the fourth category is if a person continue to do number 3, it will lead to the eradication of the effluence and defilements. So if a person is enlightened or close to enlightened, they'll experience the fourth kind of samadhi. So some people call it effortless samadhi. And that means they don't have to do anything, the mind naturally at peace. So that's the best. People like to do nothing. So the instruction for do nothing is meant for them. These are the people, the mind pure already, so they don't have to do anything. They just observe their awareness. Some people say, observe your mind, observe your awareness. They can observe their awareness because their awareness pure already, just observe. So for those who are still not pure, we need to observe the impermanence of our awareness, impermanence of the consciousness, impermanence of the 5 aggregates. For those who are pure. So it's like in other religions, maybe Hinduism, their definition of consciousness equals to pure consciousness, the pure citta. So some of the my own hypotheses of how come there's such instructions. Nowadays very popular. Just stay with your awareness, observe your awareness, something like that, right? You heard before this instruction? Have Yeah. So my hypothesis is that maybe some realized master or some enlightened master is meditating or doing nothing. Then this student is asking him, what do you do for meditation, or what are you doing? And this enlightened master is like, I just stay with my awareness. Because he finished his job already, he just stay with his awareness. Then the student is like, oh, stay with the awareness. Okay, then he teach all the other students, stay with your awareness. Stay with your awareness. So it's like, there must be a process to reach this pure awareness. You cannot just stay with your awareness. So that's meant for enlightened person. Enlightened, the mind pure already, you can stay with the awareness. So for those who are still training, you cannot just stay with the awareness. You stay with the awareness. If let's say you have angry mind, you just stay with the angry mind. You get more angry mind. you just stay with that emotion, because emotion is addictive. You need a kind of right reflection to counter and overcome this unwholesome state of mind. So that is the idea. Okay, so that's the 4 kinds of samadhi. So hopefully I explained. Does that answer your previous query? Okay, alright. Yourself? Okay. So that's in theory only, in theory. Okay. Anybody want to ask anything? No, it's a Q&A session. Yeah.
I think when the light comes, I feel very calm.
Okay.
So I can feel equanimity, even the pain.
Okay.
I can handle the pain.
Okay. Alright. So you did some steps first before the light appeared, right? So.
Because I used to my dad. I learned my dad last time.
Okay.
So I used to use the pain as my object.
Okay.
Because when I sit, after some time I will feel the pain.
Okay.
So very fast. Sometimes it will just disappear.
I see.
But sometimes it overtake by other objects. Like the feeling or this kind of thing. And suddenly the light will come out. Then you can feel the calmness. Then the equanimity.
Okay.
So I go back to the pain.
I see.
You can feel the equanimity.
So if depending on which style you're doing, if let's say you're following my routine, then you just stay with the meditation object, and then you treat everything as just byproduct. Right? Anything else? Anyone want to ask questions? Any issues with the practice? Any problem? Yeah. Yeah, if it's too painful, first you try to go back to the meditation object. If you can go back and you can ignore, then okay. But if let's say the pain is too strong, too excruciating pain, then there are many methods. First is the samatha way, which is to ignore, which I mentioned already. Then next is the vipassana method. First, we can think of impermanence of the feeling. If that still doesn't go away, then you slowly change. Never mind, it's okay. And there's no point fighting and create aversion, and you hold it aversion, then it becomes a suffering meditation. So you move mindfully, but have this right thought lah. Yeah. Okay. So we are not training to be statues. We are not training to be statues. So I like to quote this Ajahn Chah. He made a statement. He talked about meditation or mental cultivation is not about sitting long hours. It's not about sitting long hours. If it is so, then all the chicken that is hibernating the egg, they can sit very long, right? So they should be enlightened. Or these frog, they lie down, they sit for very long, they can be enlightened really. So it's not about sitting long. It's about the software, what you think. So there are many disciples of the Buddha that got enlightened or they purify the mind without long sitting. They can be doing other things, doing their chores, and they got enlightened. So one of the case is this Venerable Sivali. Venerable Sivali is the monk foremost in receiving gifts. Foremost in receiving gifts. So in Palilai temple is a monk carrying the umbrella. The statue. So he's the monk foremost in receiving gifts. So it is believed that right before his ordination, this Buddha asked Venerable Sariputta to shave his head for him, shave the head of this Sivali. So while shaving, this Venerable Sariputta is asking him to contemplate on the impermanence of the hair. So he contemplated, then by shaving, then eventually got enlightened. Just by shaving the hair. Shaving the hair can get enlightened. So he don't need to sit long hours. So he sit long hours like no effect. So that's why the Eightfold Path or this cultivation includes dana also. These thoughts of non-greed. So like this Venerable Sivali is kind of quite perfected his non-greed. So when the mind is very calm, very peaceful, very stable or quite pure, then it's easy to resonate with impermanence, easy to absorb, easy to understand the truth. So merit is important. The Eightfold Path, everything is important. Okay. Anyone else want to ask anything? What's the time? 7:50. Still have time. 8 o'clock is guided meditation. So if you don't have anything, so we give 10-minute break. You can do your stretching or toilet. Opportunity you have, whoever you think can help you, then by all means you learn. And once you learn until like maximum ready, and you still think, cannot learn from that person anymore, then you still can be friends. Then you find another teacher lah. I think that's what the Buddha and his great disciples did, or I think that's what the Samanas did in the Buddha's time. They're called the truth seekers. So anybody who claims to know the truth or able to teach something higher, then they just switch teacher lah. So the whole idea is to find the truth So that's the rough idea. So I think I went through a particular sutta in the MSBS. I've forgotten the title. But there's a sutta to check the different criteria for the teacher and stuff like that. So I think the Tibetan tradition, they expanded on it. They call it the Lam Rim or something. Anyone else? Okay, if no one, then we start first. Let me just hit the clock already. Okay, so tonight's session is a bit of visualization, a bit only. So we call this Asubha meditation, impurities of the body meditation. Okay, so that's nice coming. So impurities of the body meditation, we just do external parts of the body. Your hair of the head, hair of the body, nails, teeth, and skin. These things. We don't have to do the internal parts and stuff like that. Now, how many of you have seen your internal organs before? Your own internal organs, ever, right? Yeah, so we just do the parts that we see frequently and we are most attached. So that's the thing we do. And don't have to go too deep, don't have to over visualize, like for example, think of your teeth fall off, you don't have to think, oh yeah, I got blood or stuff like that. Don't have to over dramatize. Okay, so very simple exercise. The same concept, we are going to use loving kindness followed by impermanence. So we are going to understand how right thought is applicable in all kinds of meditation objects. So we start off with finding a comfortable sitting kind of posture. Make sure our back is upright, rest of the body relaxed. Okay, so we practice this detachment to the body. First, visualizing all the hairs, like imagining, like looking at yourself in the mirror like that. So you look at all the hairs from head to toe, and by looking at the hairs itself, by thinking of the hairs itself, there's no Dhamma value. If your hair appears nice, good looking, or beautiful, then you have greed lah. I like my hair, so you have greed. Or if you find your hair ugly or dirty, out of fashion, then you may develop anger, aversion. So that is the other extreme. So in all Dhamma practice, you have to find the middle path, avoid both extremes. So the first thing we are doing is using loving kindness to overcome anger. So when you visualize any patch of hair, then you wish it well and happy. New patch of hair again, wish it well and happy. So we do this very brief scanning from head to toe. New patch of hair, well and happy. New patch of hair, well and happy. So the phrasing also important. You wish the hairs well and happy, not wish my hairs. You don't go and add the I in there. My hair. So we are trying to overcome ego, and if you add the ego, then it's like a bit counterproductive. So the concept of right thought and right effort still applies. A new patch of hair means new condition for clinging. And think of a new image means new condition for clinging. So you must keep on applying right thought. New hairs, well and happy. New patch of hair, well and happy. If let's say you're doing it correctly, the mind should get calmer. That's an indicator you're on the right direction. If the more you think, the more excited or more tension, it means something is wrong. If you find your mind relatively calm, of course in your own time you can do as long as you want to find how calm your mind can get. So for now we just use the relative calmness and we can switch to impermanence. So all these hairs are subject to birth, aging, sickness and passing away. So you think of the hairs growing and falling, many, many cycles. And as you keep looping this image, do not over dramatize. Don't have to think of what shampoo you're using, what kind of comb, what kind of conditioner. Just think of hairs growing and falling. And as you keep looping this image, then we can reflect on the impermanent nature of the 5 aggregates and investigate. So the form aggregate is the hairs. When the hair grow and fall, grow and fall, so the form is always changing. And when the form changes, what happens to the feeling? Feeling is pleasant, unpleasant, neutral feelings. When you have a new hair, what kind of feeling? When you got old hair, what kind of feeling? And if you have a falling hair, what kind of feeling do you have? And then you have this thing called perception, 3rd aggregate. So perception is basically all the past memories on labels. When you give a label to the image, or when you need to refer to a past image to reconstruct whatever you're visualizing. So that is using perception, memory. So is that image of the hairs an exact photocopy of your actual hair? Do you have total photographic memory? Is the image exactly the same? Is your perception reliable? And the labels, the words, the forming of the thoughts, the forming of the words, forming of the images, we call this mental formation. When you generate a new image, that's a new mental formation. And when we pay attention to that image, we call that consciousness or the awareness. And we can, we have these 6 kinds of consciousness, and eye, ear, nose, tongue, body and mind. So that visualizing is the mind door consciousness. So in between 2 images, what happened to that consciousness? Does it always stay at the mind door consciousness, or does it jump around, or what happened? And we can ask ourselves, are these hairs truly self? Or the more you practice impermanence and detachment, you can observe, is the sense of self increasing or decreasing? Is the ego intensifying or reducing? And the next part of the body, we're going to visualize all the nails, fingernails and toenails, and we wish them well and happy. And all these nails, fingernails, toenails, are subject to birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. So you think of them growing and falling, many, many cycles. And as we keep looping this image, looping this process, we can observe the impermanent nature of the 5 aggregates. And we need the 5 aggregates to perceive the nails. So when we meditate on the nails, we are not training the nails. The nails don't become longer or become shinier. So we're actually training the mind to detach from the nails. So if a person keep putting effort and keep on thinking of impermanence, this particular routine of these impurities of the body doesn't lead to jhanas. So it leads to this impermanent kind of concentration, this sharpening of this mindfulness. So no matter what emotion you experience, emphasis is on rowing the boat. Keep on thinking of impermanence. Everything else is byproduct, passing scenery. And we can observe then this sense of self. Is it increasing or decreasing? and ask ourselves, are these nails truly self? Can we tell the nails not to go through birth and death? So next we are going to observe this so-called impermanent nature of the self. So when we're going to switch to the next part of the body, when we don't think of impermanence, what will happen to the self again, the sense of self? So now we're going to think of the teeth. All the teeth inside the mouth, may they be well and happy. All the upper rows of teeth and lower rows of teeth, may they be well and happy. So this sense of self is a bit like a cement inside a concrete mixer. You need to think of impermanence to start churning and then become like liquidy. Once you stop thinking, once you stop impermanence, then it will like solidify. Or use metaphor the stream. Once you stop rowing, and then you follow the direction of the currents. Okay, so now we're going to think of impermanent nature of the teeth. All the teeth are subject to birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. And we think of them growing and falling, many, many cycles. Even though the teeth fall off the most twice only, we can keep repeating. And this is just a mental detachment exercise. And as we keep looping this image, we can investigate the impermanent nature of the five aggregates. So only the looping of the image is imaginary. All the other cognitive processes are your real-time evidence. The change in your feelings, there's observable evidence. And we can ask ourselves, are these teeth truly self? Can we tell the teeth not to go through this birth and death? Yes, so you get the, hopefully you can catch the pattern between samatha, it means wishing the part of the body well and happy, and when you transit to vipassana, thinking of impermanent nature of the part of the body, there will trigger certain phenomena, or very similar phenomena. So it applies to all meditation objects. Okay, so we are now thinking of the skin. We wish all the skin well and happy. So from head to toe, every patch of skin, we wish them well and happy. And all the skin are subject to birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. And so you think of skin growing and falling, many cycles. And as we keep looping this process, we can observe the arising and passing of the five aggregates. then we can ask ourselves, are the skin truly self? Can we tell the skin not to go through this birth and death? Okay, then you can now experiment any image, a non-living thing, can be your mobile gadget, can be your car, whatever it is, can be your cash, your favorite object, non-living object, you just visualize that object. You see whether this sense of possessiveness, sense of self, or this is mine, this is ego appear. So we're going to tackle this with thoughts of loving kindness first. Wish that image well and happy. Then wish my thing well and happy and concase. Wish that formation well and happy, that mental formation well and happy. Okay, and all these objects are subject to impermanence, birth and decay. So we can think of this decaying process, how it get dirty and decompose. If it's made of plastic, you can fast forward the process, and you can loop this process many times. So you can renew again and keep getting old and decompose, and new again and decompose. And as you keep looping this process, you observe the arising and passing of the 5 aggregates. So the investigation of 5 aggregates is to deter the mind from straying too far, over dramatizing. The mind will tend to start to create Hollywood movie afterwards. So the focus is on the looping and the investigation of the 5 aggregates. So if you get carried away by the dramas and stories, the Hollywood film your mind is creating, then we call this craving to sensual pleasure. So although we may observe this preset, right, avoid this entertainment and whatever not. So ultimately, this is the very refined entertainment in the mind, cannot control. Right? So this one have to overcome only through real contentment. So when the mind is more contented, there's an incentive not to chase over this imagination. Basically, the mind will just chase the strongest emotion, that's all. Okay, then we can ask ourselves, this object, the one that we're imagining, are they truly yours? Is it truly yours? Can you tell it not to go through decay? Okay, then we can come back to this impermanence. Mindful of these four elements again, back to the body. So now on, don't need to visualize. So whatever sensation appear, wish it well and happy. New sensation arise, wish it well and happy. And the more you wish it well and happy, you observe whether the calming process is it the same or similar. So that's the samatha phase. You find your mind relatively calm. This is we call it the baseline emotion. No jhana concentration yet. Now we're going to think of impermanence. This time restricted within the body, but impermanence. So all these sensations, observe how they arise, how they pass away. So this is real-time evidence, no imagination, no need to speculate or imagine anything. Any movement, any change in feeling, change in sensation, you keep observing and noting. Intentional labeling, call it change, arising, passing. So you can be mindful of right thought, impermanence the whole day in all activities, standing, sitting, walking or lying down. With that, we can gently open our eyes, formally end the session, informally still can practice this mindfulness of the body, impermanence of the body. Okay, so it's 40 minutes of sitting. Any questions at the moment? Any issues, any problem? Who cannot visualize anything? Cannot? Okay. Okay, maybe too tired. Okay. Okay, that means still we say there's some attachment. It's normal if your first time retreat, right? So it's okay probably after some time to see how much improvement or how much detachment you have. Yeah, okay. Okay, so if let's say a person is drowsy or feeling tired in meditation, some of the possibilities you can do, I always normally refer to this Chapala Sutta, Capala. It's not Chapalang, it's Chapala Sutta. So this story of this Venerable Moggallana is the left-hand man of the Buddha, the foremost in psychic power. And before he got enlightened, when he's meditating, he's always nodding, meditating and sleeping, tired. So this Buddha happened to pass by and gave him some tips how to improve on this meditation, on this overcome the drowsiness. So the first thing is, do not pay attention to the drowsiness. So that's the idea. The Buddha's advice to Venerable Moggallana: do not pay attention to the drowsiness. So that's number one. Do not entertain, do not pay attention to drowsiness, because the sleepy feeling, very nice, very nice. It's any strong emotion, any of the 5 hindrances, very strong emotion, very addictive emotion. So if our Kung Fu not good enough, if we pay attention to it, very high percentage will get sucked into it. It's like a whirlpool, like a tornado. So the best is avoid it. Do not go into the tornado, gone case. So avoid the tornado, go far, far away, go somewhere. So what to do? So the first thing is increase the rate of your investigation. So if let's say we're investigating impermanence, you investigate faster lah. That means you observe impermanence more. So that is one way. If let's say you observe, investigate, still can fall asleep, then another possibility is have this Dhamma discussion in your mind, Dhamma talk in your mind. So your Dhamma talk really still can fall asleep. Then you have do chanting. Like any favorite chant you can chant. But if you see in a group, you don't chant out loud, you chant in your mind. People think you have a problem. So you chant in your mind. If that still doesn't work, so you can fall asleep, then you have other options. So like for Venerable Moggallana, he have this instruction, visualize white light. So brightening this light can help you, make you wakeful. And so that's why he got this psychic power. So if that still doesn't work, still can fall asleep, then you have even grosser method. So you have things like rubbing your face, pulling your ear, washing your face, right? Stuff like that. So the last resort is walking. If let's say you walk, still can peng san, still can fall off, means you're really tired. Then you should go and lie down mindfully. So that's the whole spectrum of advice for drowsiness. So I know very tired, end of the day already. So this is, you can, by deduction, it's tiredness. Okay, so any issues you want to ask? If not, I hand over to the organizers to brief on the next day program, like the cleaning and stuff like that. You want to say something?